Heroes and legends, end times, the end begins. Colonina and his forces, along with the Scotia and Prince M, arrived at the Kichu part of Elinshu after successfully beating back the Fedalians. It was the dead of night. Few hours from dawn, Colonial was on his horse, surrounded by many of his officers, his now wife Sama, and loyal friends and allies. Colonial was making a speech. Today, my friends and allies, my brothers and sisters, the time to end this chaos is now. We have traveled a long way, but now our destiny is assured. Now we will use this surprise attack to beat back the mannequins that might be here and to take the dimensions. Now, with our Scotian allies, we've secured enough bankrupt funds to bank our way to hold the loyalty of Kichuru. Once we take the issue, the Kichuru offer their assistance and help. With them, we can take on all comers, that witch of the JS Ankling color. With this sword, I will bring an end to this chaos. My dear Sama, as he turned his steed towards her, and he reached out to hold her hand and said, My dear, it pains me to have to see you fight where you labor with my offspring. Although this must be to bring an end to the chaos and to pursue a peaceful age, in the age in which I saw the vision of LaFleur, where each character, each man, each woman, each race, each galaxy, each different belief system live together as one, in peace and in harmony. That is my destiny, and that is my cause of fighting. Then Samuel nodded her head and said, Yes, my darling. Do not worry. I'll try not to push myself too hard. But you too must not. The future needs a leader, and the children need a father. Colonial said yes. He turned his horse around to face the rest of his army. He lifted up his silver destiny sword and said, With this sword that was blessed by my late Lord KGM and has withstood the test of time, and bent the greatest and legendary sword, the Blue Wandering Sword, the sword in which its defense can never be broken. Let this sword shine forward and lead us to a new dawn. As he was given the command to charge the main capital square of Elinshu to take dimensions and rule the universe, he got stuttering reports from his messengers. Lord, the enemies, led by Morgan and Fidel, are rejuvenated, are attacking here for us from behind. Another messenger came. Lord, a large contingent of King Vaughn's forces are miles away, are coming. Another contingent. Lord, the Jayas, the Ginkolo, are coming from multiple directions, all here to the issue. Colonial's morale certainly sunk. I said, Damn it all. How could this be? This is a covert operation. How could we be spotted? And then Imperi walked up to his lord and said, My lord, the rumors are indeed true. Mannequin ensuring, not just ensuring mannequins here. I guess all the main powers are able to fight, are willing to lay it all on the line in this battle. They too want to take over the universe. It seems this battle will be much larger than we thought. The Colonial cursed his timing, but he reassured his men that as long as he lay breath, their victory would be assured. But first, they had to get past the old rivals, Morgan Fidelian and his forces. Morgan and a few of his Fidelian insurance and feared the bifurcation, wanted to avenge his Lord Fidel's defeat, and said, "We are no position to wage claim to the universe, but if we could stop Colonina and his ilk from claiming it, then that would be a victory for us." Colonial cursed Morgan's foolishness and said, "You stand in the way of peace. Peace for a new age with all sides, all planets, all powers to live in peace and harmony under my rule and leadership." And the Fidelians are indeed stuck in the past. There is indeed no future for you. And then, using the neighborhood of the Kinchuru and its natural defenses, they able to beat back Morgan and force them to a corner. Morgan and the Fidelians, outwitted and not willing to die in this foolish battle, decide to retreat. Morgan caused this failure, and as he caused the Fidelians to lose heavily, this would be their last battle ever in the dimensions. As the colonial went to reamp their ranks and recover from the previous battle to charge directly at the Manican army, daybreak had arose. As daybreak arose, the chaos had begun. The end was near. John Johnson and his now lean the JS and gathered some troops from the Scholastica and the Scholastica as well from our host. Our host was stunned when Helix, the new general of the Yui clan, came to assist him. John Johnson praised their determination. Now he was able to beat back the traitor Constantine Kinkalo, who had sided with the Mancans and with evil and darkness. During this fight and confrontation, Constantine went to face John Johnson to clear the air, declare what the Kinkalo was truly up to. While this was going on, John J.S., who had long searched for Calvon Singer, had finally found him. Calvon, as they encountered each other on the battlefield. "So, it is you. After all these years, now I've been brought back for a chance at vengeance." And then Calvon Singer turned around and said, "John J.S., taking out his sword, "Oh, so you were looking for me across the universe? I'm sorry, I had some personal family matters I had to get by, but I'm able to give you an ear to." And John J.S. said, "The day the Kinkar rose back during our time was a dark day for the universe, and it seems that Kinkar have furthered the chaos even further. Come, I will avenge my defeat. This time, I will be victorious." And Calvon Singer said, "Bring it on." The two clashed and began to fight. As Constantine Kinkar and John Johnson duked it out, man to man, John Johnson was declared, "Constantine, you traitor. You and your brother have sided with evil. If all the evils aside, why the mannequins? Why? For power, for fame? I thought King Carlo would never bow down to another Elinshu. The King Carlo sank so low. Have you forgotten the days in which we worked together to stop evils of the Atlanteans and the golden goddess of Diana? Have you forgotten?" Constantine, lashing back in his sword with eagle ferocity, said, "John Johnson, you're clouded by the past. As much as I admire you now, you've finally taken leadership of the chairs. You're still clouded. Don't you not see what's going on? Me and my brother, Carl von Singer, and our allies, we are no longer allied to the mannequins. Now that King Vaughn has joined them, as the swords begin to clash, we here are fighting to stop mannequin Sean." And then their two swords clash again, and John Johnson's face was puzzled. Said, "You're fighting against a mannequin? Aren't you all on the same side?" And then they separated, and Constantine shouted and declared, "No, you dummy." I kissed. still can't believe after all this time, you still managed to survive and be called a great hero. Regardless, I said, my brother, myself, and Colin Singer, we are no longer with the mannequins. We are here to stop them and whatever plan they're doing. We refuse to join them. Our alliance was severed the minute that King Vaughn and his forces surrendered to Mannequin. And John Johnson was affixed. The old Constantine that he knew was still alive, very reluctantly and boastful, as always. And John Johnson called his men, stop fighting. And then even John J.S. and Carl von Singer even push off their blades from one another as a call to stop was called in as they was fighting in the many valleys and highways of Elinshu. And John Johnson made a shocking declaration which shocked James Ping and JSJ. We are joining alliance with the Kingalo from this day forward. We are fighting a common enemy, not ourselves, but ensure mannequin and mannequin ensure. The mannequins must be destroyed. We are the true arbiters of this chaos. And because of their rebirth, this chaos has started. It's time we end this. We shall forge a new path with our allies. Forward! And the two forces cheered and began to rage forward. Our host and Helix were stunned. Once upon a time, the King Color were their enemy, as they fought in the previous war, the war of the female powers, against the King Color. Now the King Color morphed to something else, and they still were their enemy, but now they were all allies. It seems the times were changing, and now these officers of a galaxy that was mostly largely neutral in this war were now getting themselves in the thicket of it. While all this was going on, during the battle, Calvin Kincolor and his Sher Mannequin were meeting on the hillside, chatting. And Sher Mannequin, well, Calvin, it seems you've made your stupid decision. You've let your pride get the better of you. I thought you matured. I thought you were seeing the future and surrendered to my God. And Calvin Kincolor said, Sher Mannequin, you of all people should know me. I will never surrender to another insurance, especially worship one. Besides, your tyranny is at an end. King Vaughn now disposed, there's only one way left to oppose you. And then Ishmael Mannequin declared, Calvin, come on, think about it. My God has now suppressed and now is oppressing the one man that we had to join forces to destroy. Now you want to oppose me, King Vaughn, and Mankinshire. You might have the builder on. Now Penn, you might have the Jace as well. But your powers pale in comparison to what we have in store. And Calvin Collo walked up to him and said, don't worry. We have more tricks on my sleeve than ever before. We have an ace on our sleeve. And Sherman Mankin looked at him and laughed and said, if you're going to use what I think you're going to use, good luck with that. You see, my Lord has grown more stronger than ever before. And what you might think that I work on him back then will not work on him now. And with that, Sherman Mankin stopped talking and turned his head to look at the battlefield. Calvin Call did likewise, but a look of concern was on his face. Elsewhere, far in the more deeper regions of the issue, was Treasure Rose and Nainaville and Universal Arbor and Nemo and their troops, and the Dale clan and her main force. They were being attacked by Penny and the vast Gazaju army, who came under the hest of Manakanishan. Penny declared, haha, are you fools so stupid? Victory is already ours. The end is near and here for you. You fools and your stubborn resistance. The day you die, Rose, and your dimensional forces, your resistance is futile. Still, Treasure Rose did not give up. Her and her forces and Nemo were prepared to fight to the bitter end. However, they will receive help from an unlikely quarter. Windeal, King Carlo, and Qualton, King Carlo, had appeared to assist them. Their King Carlo force consisted of the time where Calvon ruled and turned the dimensions into a battlefield, from battlefield to a megatropolis. The history was around and highly respected in the dimensions. When they saw the King Carlo battle and the very worn and Prime Minister and leader of the dimensions that led the way for a metropolitan area and a metropolis, Dresro's heart rose up and they rallied behind them. We have reinforcements. Forward! Penny was shocked. The King Carlo had joined the dimensions? Wait, the King Carlo turned against us? Great. Now the war is going to be prolonged. I really hope to end it here. And the closet two were being pushed back. And the dimensional forces were able now to put a dent in Penny's dreams of conquering the dimensions. While all this was going on, Glonina had now successfully recovered from the battlefield of the first battle. Now he was rushing the main courtyard of the frontal of the issue, where the Noxious army that guarded Mancanishan directly now stood between them and total victory. As the Scotian and colonial forces fought the Nautilus and the main and Mancanishan forces, Colonina's Silver Excellence and Nebaka's Sword of Oblivion, two of the most mightiest swords of the age, were about to clash on the steps of the main castle keep where Mancanishan and his black box, now known as the Great Power, which holds all the elements and powers of all the great powers that be currently. But Mancanishan was waiting for one more power, a power in which they will bring an end to the universe, and which will overflow the might of the great power and dwarf and overcome the great power which Cajun Bean had eons ago. While the two ensuring leaders fought, Nebaka was declaring Koanya a fool and a weak man with a brilliant sword and dreams too big for him to master alone. As they clashed, Nebaka could see that Koanya was desperate. His time had come and gone, that he was only struggling to survive. And his allies in the Scotia knew it. That's why they swore allegiance to his life and not to his cause. Clonia cursed at Nebaka, at Natchalus, Nebaka, and said, "You fool, I will bring an end to the chaos. All will bow before me, all powers, including you and Mancanishan." And he said, "Many want to bring down Mancanishan. Many are worthy out there in the universe. But you, the only thing worth of you is your sword. But its wielder is unworthy of it. But come now, the end is drawing nigh. You must leave." And then he summoned a big giant black water tideway filled with sharks to overthrow Colonia out of the stairway and out of the castle keep. As Colonia's men were being pushed down by the waves, Colonia hold on to the ledge, hold on to the steps, the handles with dear life. As he was struggling to hold on, while that was going on, the elder forces led by Golten, the angel, Avon and Jenny of the Emeries, and the Baha and the Guardian forces were marching straight towards the battlefield. They too cannot allow Michael and Shern to rule the universe. It will be an affront and blasphemy towards God. And so they marched their forces, beating back the Michael forces that were in front of them. Golden, as he transformed into an angel, his full angel form, flying as fast as he can, was talking to Prophet Elon. Something is not right. Michael and Shern should declare himself emperor by now. He's up to something. I don't know what it is. Could the universe be up? Time be up. Puffy and I'm trying to get to Golden. Golden said, no man, nor angel, nor savior, nor our savior knows. I cannot be saying for certain. I'm not sure if Michael and Shern knows something. But whatever it is, we must stop it. And Jenny and everyone were discussing. We must be fine for King Carlo. Now we're not fine for the elders. Oh, we're so conflicted. At least with this, we could survive. And then Jenny said, no, you may be right, but still, this power is hard and long. There are many sides fighting and vying for power. It will not be easy. And the rest of the Baja and the Guardian troops charged their way forward. Sumi Ball was kind of excited that she would meet up with Carl Vaughan Sr. again, the mighty warrior that impressed her back in the King Carlo's invasion of Guardian. She wanted to look at him one more time to see his worth on the battlefield, and such a major battle at that. Back to the castle showdown with Colonia and Nebaka. The leader of the naturalists had overwhelmed Colonia as he lost his grip and was forced to float all the way back down to the base of the castle, where the water quickly dried up, and Nebaka went back to guard his lord. Colonia had to sit down for a while to dry off himself, while the battle intensified all around him. Elsewhere in the far northwest of the area, Carl Vaughan Jr. and his King Carlo forces, along with the Bilderant, had appeared to answer a call against King Vaughan, who had finally come. King Vaughan and the Bahara, led by Maurice, had come to lay claim to the battlefield. King Vaughan well expected Carl Vaughan to betray Michael and Shun. That was good. Now he could at least cut down King Carlo and gain fame for himself. But Carl Vaughan Jr. wanted to face the fiery, handsome god. Come, your flames against mine. Let us see which one's more powerful. Then King Vaughan accepted the challenge of Carl Vaughan Jr., who was said to be the strongest King Carlo of the age, and a fellow defeater of a demoniac. The same species that gave Michael and Sharon his power. If he could overcome Carl Vaughan Jr., then certainly he might be able to overcome Michael and Sharon. As the two forces clash, and bodies were flying everywhere, explosions, campfire, artillery fire, blades and swords and fists and hands were connecting all across the battlefield. Carl Vaughan Jr. with his two spears, and King Vaughan and his two fiery spears were clashing. There was flames all around them, as the two was equally matched. However, Carl Vaughan Jr. put it up a notch and increased his power. King Vaughan at that time was at full power, trying to destroy him. He noticed Carl Vaughan Jr. getting stronger. He was shocked. He said, "What? This is the power of the demon axe? It can't be." And then Carl Vaughan pushed back away from King Vaughan. King Vaughan saw this opportunity as a opening and jumped forward and put both of his spears in front of him like this, both of him and was going to dive down and stab Calvin Jr. right in the heart. The same way Calvin Jr. killed Queen Alexa. But Calvin Jr. was aware of this. And so he teleported. He dodged it so fast and he moved so fast that it seemed like he teleported in between the spears and launched his own two spears close together to stab King Vaughn. King Vaughn quickly moved within a millisecond between him and death. King Vaughn teleported away, but he collapsed out of the pure shock. He was just minuscule distance away from death. He couldn't believe it. Carl Vaughan Jr. was truly out of his match, and Michael and Sean was rumored to grow even stronger than even Carl Vaughan Jr. was. He knew at that point that he had no match for the Michael, and it was at that point on that King Vaughn was completely loyal to Michael and Sean. He retreated as he looked at the skies were about to break. The end was drawing nigh. He laughed and said, "Whatever Michael and Sean's planning, it's about to happen." Before it could happen, however, back in the castle, Monica and Sean had gotten out and was standing at the very top, looking at the heavens, with the great power behind him, and was being guarded by his cousin, York and Sean. He came out and proclaimed with his rod at hand, the time had finally come. However, there was a ship coming. It was Silver Excellence of the Battalion, and in it, equipped on it, was the great laser cannon. The laser cannon that put Baha Air legend in the legend books. The laser cannon that destroyed Dr. Dark, who had formed himself to make himself a living black hole, was going to consume the entire universe into darkness and destroy it. The same cannon was used to destroy him and his new dimension he made within the black hole. It was going to destroy the black box, which was the source of my Sean's power. It was cloaked and on the camouflage. No one sensed it, no one knew it was happening. But Michael Sean's powers, as he will proclaim, as he said, "You fools, I am more powerful than anyone in this battlefield, more powerful than even I can imagine, and still my power grows. What mere mortals could do, and what they're capable of, is no longer a match for my abilities," as he pointed his rod directly at the ship to fire and to destroy it. Bahir told the pilot Sim, who's bound in Silver Accents, to turn the ship around. He sees us, we've been caught, we've been had. And then Sim, using quick reflexes, turned the wheel around and Smacknation fired and just missing the ship by inches, just grazing one of its wings. Then it was forced to retreat because the little graze dealt great damage to the ship. Calvin Kingallo, at that point, was stunned, and then he raced back to the battlefield where his brother was. It was at that point that Schumacher laughed at Calvin and said, "Ha ha ha ha, that was your ace in the hole. You stupid fool. You should never betray us. Now you and all your ilk will die." And as he said this, the great clouds burst out from heaven. There was a great force that shook all of the dimensions. Suddenly, all fighting stopped as people looked towards the northern sky. There was a great power that was emerging. Golden stopped and he couldn't believe it. Could this be the second coming? And he said, and the prophet Elams asked Golden this. Golden said, "No, it doesn't feel like it. Who are these people?" And then Golden went to full power and went there to stop him. And peons of this mysterious force came before him as he tried to push them back, but he was overwhelmed. How could this be? Who were these people? Anyway, after that, mysterious figure, one strong, a strong figure, strong, bursting with energy, muscles that was bursting out, of a seemingly all white militant uniform, striped with red on various places. His eyes shone with fearsome power, and his long blonde hair was silver, seemed silver and neon. This powerful being had not been seen in eons. Even during the time of the primes, was this being around. No one on the battlefield knew what it was. Only one knew it was mannequin Shuren, as he raised up his hands and proclaimed, "The end has come. Witness now the one that has freed you from your eon prison. Witness the beginning of the end. Feast your eyes on your prize, your prey of destruction that you will bring upon the universe. Feed the great power with your very essence, your very presence." As he looked up, Clonina, his silver excellent sword, was flaming up. Light was beaming out of it like crazy. It was a reaction to whatever being that was. Clonina then did a look at Malcolm and Shuren, see him all smiles and praising. This was his plan. Whoever this being was, Clonina said to himself, he is the key to Malcolm and Shuren's victory. He looked at Sama, who was just feet away from him, as all of them were looking, and he said, "I love you. Be well." And he flew up, and Sama said, "No!" crying anxiously, as Ken had to go and stop him from flying up herself. He used his sword axe sword to beat back the light and beat back some of the imps that were coming out of the light. And he said, "Why you?" He was trying to slay him. Then suddenly, without warning, just by looking at him, this unknown being that will later be known as Simonet looked at him. Gloria froze as he couldn't believe it. All his body was numb by an invisible force, just by the mere presence of Simonet. And then he wished his hand like that and said, "Phew." Once he did that, Glonina was automatically slain. As he looked, with a blank stare, as death had finally claimed him one last time. And Simonet claimed himself and said, "What a weak fool." But as he noted, he looked at his sword. He said, "He has a very impressive sword, though." And Colonia fell on the ground. The force of it was so strong, it started a mini earthquake across the land. Simonet then looked and said, "So that's the one, looking at Lankan and Shuren, who freed me and my people. Very well. I see many insects here that need to be exterminated. Good. The time has come. The end is here." And then, as mysteriously as he appeared, him and his forces disappeared. Malkin and Shuren declared victory and said there was no need to declare emperorship of the universe. For the universe, time was up. Him and his forces began to retreat. And Calvin Kinkolo, being surrounded by his forces and his brothers, bent down on his knees, beating the floor and crying endlessly, "It is finished. It is finished. We have failed. All hope is lost." Constantine was stunned, and the Kinkolo forces were stunned. The mighty Calvin Kinkolo, fearless, calculating, and determined, now break down in anguish in front of his rivals and his foes. If he had given up all hope, then indeed all hope was lost. Princeton and Scotia, seeing now that Colonial was dead, now freed from the battle, and now the Scotians were free to be independent once more, they declared the victory and ran away. Kenna and Imperial were stunned and sickened. They couldn't even say condolences or say goodbye before they ran like cowards. Salmon, who had the sword, Silver Destiny, in her hands, crying and weeping bitterly over Colonial's body as it began to fade away in the ashes. She wept bitterly for her husband and beloved. The forces that were left, the Bildron, the Hegalo, the JS, dimensional forces, the Scholastica, and yeah, that's it. And those forces all gathered together, trying to figure what the hell to do and what the hell just happened. Then Sama picked up her sword and said, as she looked at the Allied forces, and all the forces that remained in the dimensions. She looked at Ken and said, what Colonia wanted. An age where everyone could work together, cooperatively, and live in peace, and fight for a better future. With this sword, and with his offspring in me, we will forge ahead. As she walked up to them to make the alliance between all the remaining forces, seeing now that it was more dire than ever they do so. Carl Von Jr. looked up. He was poised and stood firm, but in his heart and his mind, fear, something I've never felt before. And then he remembered what Mike and Sean told him. He had a flashback of their fight and said, when he said, thank you. If it wasn't for you defeating Queen Alexa, I would never be able to fulfill my plans. And then he remembered something. But Queen Alexa said, please, don't kill me, enslave me, imprison me, don't kill me. For the sake of the universe, don't do it. It will bring utter ruin. Him killing Queen Alexa, what Queen Alexa meant by utter ruin, an appearance of this strange being in the sky that cut down Clonina with ease and brought great power before dimensions. Carl Von Jr. knew that all of this was secretly his fault. He had to confront his father and everyone else about this. The end had come, and Mike and Sean seemingly had won. But the determination of Carl Von Jr., Sama, and a host of many others was this last stand for the universe, very survival.